Hi, I'm Neill Blomkamp, and this is my life in sci-fi. You know, ironically, I think the first science fiction film I remember seeing is Alien. And it was in a coastal town in South Africa that we used to have like a sort of holiday flat in, called Umhlanga. It's next to Durban. And I saw I was really young. I mean, I was probably 6 or 5. And I saw maybe 40 minutes of it. And then my family wanted to go down to the beach, and I basically spazzed fully because I just wanted to keep watching it. And then over the years, I found out that there's a VHS machine in the bottom of the apartment block that the woman at the base of the building would cycle films that were filtered through all of the different flats. And I was like, what is that you were playing? You know, it took me 2 years to actually get to the bottom of it, this pre-internet, super young phase. So yeah, it was Alien. I had no idea what it was.
And were you terrified by it then?
I saw everything up until the chest bursting scene, right? So most of it, my memory of it, was in the ship with the eggs and the space jockey. That was the imagery that and then I didn't see it again. It was 40 minutes, and then I just never saw it for several years. So the scary factor wasn't in there yet. I was pretty young when a lot of my favorite films came out. You know, I didn't see any of them in theaters, like Alien or Aliens or Terminator. Those were all, I was too young for those. And then movies that were in theaters, I was still too young. I mean, I saw them, but I didn't get what they meant, like Terminator 2 and, several others. But the first movie that I remember as basically as an adult that had a massive effect on me was The Matrix. And it was also because I was 19 when I saw The Matrix, and I realized that I wanted to be a filmmaker. So it was this double effect that it had on me, where just as a fan of science fiction and a fan of that genre of film, it had an effect. And then as a filmmaker, the realization that you could strive to make films that had that level of impact. If I took myself as a sample, core group, if I could affect myself as much as I was affected watching The Matrix, it was an unbelievably appealing thing to strive to do, which I don't think I've done, yet. But yeah, so The Matrix was probably the first one that I think I would put in that category. My favorite robot in film is Ed 209 from RoboCop. And it was Phil Tippett executed that in 86 or whatever, and I think it was designed by Craig Hayes, and it's just incredible film design. It's amazing. The other favorite of mine is the Bjork robot from Chris Cunningham's music video, which I don't know if you can count as a film robot, but is exceptional on several levels and influenced an entire industry. You have movies like I, Robot and stuff ripping him off. So those are my 2 favorite robots. My obvious answer is the Xenomorph, but I just need to make sure that there's nothing else that's in there. It's probably, yeah, it's the Xenomorph. One thing that I've noticed about myself as I get older is that I've become less and less interested with other contemporary fiction. So I don't really draw any influences. I mean, at least with stuff getting made today, there's nothing that, let me summarize this. The influences for me as I get older are real life. I've noticed that I've become way more interested in I'll be more interested in the news than I am in other fiction. So, where I am influenced, I think, is in aesthetic choices and design. There's the directors that are good at that are the directors that I really like. The Ridley Scotts and the James Camerons, that it's not just about story. The written word and scripts and literature and stuff is that's about as boring as it can get for me. The idea of a theatrical play is the most boring thing in the world. That is literally the most boring thing in the world. So there has to be visual design elements in realized in film for me to be really captivated by it. So I'm not influenced in terms of other people's fiction, but I am acutely aware of other people's design choices. And so in Chappie, there should be, if I've done it correctly, zero influence that comes from other people's fiction. But then things like his rabbit ears come from Masamune Shiero's like Appleseed. And the evil robot is the tipping of my hat to Ed 209. There's stuff like that. There's kind of a few, I think. Model miniature stuff I love. I love the way it looks, and I love the craft of the guys that make them. So I love a lot of miniature work. Like, for instance, the Tyrrell Corporation in Blade Runner, the miniature Los Angeles sets in Blade Runner, I find very interesting. But the switch to computer graphics and the time that happened is also super interesting. Things like Jurassic Park, for me, I find really fascinating. Like watching Industrial Light and Magic, thinking about go motion and stop motion, and testing. I think who's that famous animator? I can't remember his name right now, but he was the guy that basically pioneered the idea of, he was like, let me mess with the digital Tyrannosaurus Rex and let's just see what it looks like. And Spielberg saw it and he was like, we got to do that. And they changed their approach. So that period of time, that Liquid Metal, Terminator 2, Industrial Light and Magic, Jurassic Park era, I would have to put up there on the list. I like stuff that is like extreme genre work. Like an example would be like Hardware, like Richard Stanley's Hardware. I really like that film. And yeah, that's I would go with that. Some of the performances in Blade Runner I find really interesting. Like even Sean Young, like that movie to me feels like it's like ambience. It's something that, it's less like a movie and more like some kind of weird tone poem that just plays and that sort of mesmerizes you. And their performances are part of that. So it would probably be in Blade Runner, I think. Hard Boiled, illustrated by Jeff Darrow. Again, illustrated. You see how the literature, not so much. Like the reading, it's not really, no. But if I want inspiration, I will literally read Hard Boiled and look at what Jeff Darrow did with Frank Miller's writing. That is ridiculous how much I love that book.